Okay, sometimes my mic does not want to pick up my mic. Okay, so hello, my name is Yaishla. Most people just call me Izo. Today we're gonna be going over parts of Lijiang. I want to go over gardens because I felt like we were struggling a bit on that map, and then I want to go over King's Row.
Now arriving at Lijiang Tower.
Because those were the two main areas I saw you guys struggle. We're gonna skip this because I personally wasn't here, and I mainly want to focus on gardens.
Ready for battle.
Because I saw some big issues in gardens.
Ready for.
How do you guys sit here?
Ready for battle. 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
Cool.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Sorry if I'm a bit like rusty. I haven't reviewed it a little bit. Okay, so first off, okay, so it's not bad to go over to the right side. However, it's better for you to just control this area over here, because if you control this area over here, you're controlling controlling all this space, and mainly you have all this like sidelines on point. So it's very important that you control this area. Plus, if you control this area, it gives your FAR it gives your FAR all the space to work with. Look at that big circle. Sorry, it gives your FAR all the space to work with, as well as you can act on your FAR space, like the space that your FAR is going to give you. It's like, for example, your FAR is going to be spamming in from above, and so what you could do is you can push in and act on low targets. I cannot see blue. So that's why it's important for you to play. This is the only like situation where you want your FAR to be kind of like playing with you, because you want your FAR to be taking over control over tower, as well as you want to be able to be in a position to where you can act on the damage that your FAR is putting out. And so it's kind of like the only reason you want to go right side, like into white, is because you want to be controlling point. And God, my jaw hurts. Okay, so the comp that you're running is it's more of like you're running very poke. You've very controlling tanks. They're very good at controlling space. They're very good at like putting on pressure. Like they're you've controlling tanks, and then you have a poke and another poke, and you have like poke damage. So it'd be more beneficial for you guys to go over here this way, so that way you have this sight line and this sight line, as well as you can act on the you can still poke, and you can poke with your Pharah, and you can act on the damage that your Pharah is like giving you. And when someone's like low, you can push in and then take control over the space, which will give you control point. However, if you go push through here and take control over a point, this leaves them to take over all this space right here, and this leaves your Pharah to either play like right here against this wall. Your Pharah is forced to play tower, but she's not going to have as much space as she would have if you guys had pushed over here. So it's really about giving your Pharah space. It's like, imagine if there was a Kree right here. Your Pharah would not be able to play tower or push anywhere unless you guys had pushed on that McCree or pushed him back. Like, let's say you're running dive. You want to dive the Kree, dive the threat that's not allowing your Pharah to take the space. So let's just see how this plans out. Hopefully I explained that well. But what you're doing is, it's fine. It's just not the most beneficial for you guys and what your comp is running. You would be playing range, and when you go to play point, you're not really playing range. You're playing like close quarters kind of fighting, and so it's just kind of sketch. It's kind of sketch. It's kind of sus. It's kind of not the best idea, because you're running a lot of poke. Like soldier's good medium range, and these guys can play wherever. So it'd be more beneficial for your comp to just go ahead and go play left, because you're not. If you guys are running like Rein Zarya, like Reaper, Sim, and you guys want to be playing point or going white, then you don't want to be going over here, because you don't have the poke, you don't have the range. But since you do have the range with this comp, or like at least mid range, there's no reason to really go to white, because you're just giving up all the space, and you're not allowing your Pharah to. You're not really able to push on the damage that your Pharah is outputting. Also, there's a big thing with Lulu, and I'm not trying to like beat you up, but I'm just coming as a flex DPS player myself. There's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of times where I will either talk a lot about the flex DPS or talk a lot about the tanks. It's because those are the two most roles that I played the most. And then usually like supports, I kind of sometimes I won't ignore supports, but I usually focus on those two roles because those are the two game changing roles. Like I'm not saying that sport isn't game changing, but I'm just saying that tanks really dictate the fight. They dictate the tempo of a fight. DPS really act in the space that the tank's given them, and then your supports are your foundation. They allow you to take that space. They allow you to maintain it. They allow you to do the damage. So it's easier to see just DPS mistakes. It's very easy to see tanks mistakes. It's kind of hard to see supports mistakes. And I'm not saying I don't see them. I'm just pointing out the more noticeable issues that need to be fixed. And sometimes just supports issues aren't as loud and they're not as big of an issue. So Lulu, you need to be playing tower. Like there's no reason as far that you need to be playing out here in the open. If you're playing Echo, then maybe not really. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing tower. This is your cover. There's 3 rules of positioning. I don't know if you know this, but I teach this to everyone that I coach. Cover, doing your job, and escape. You need to be holding cover here. Let's say if there's a top 800 Widow on the enemy team, you want to be holding that tower to dear life. Like that is your safe space. That is your safe space. This is what's going to keep you alive. You don't when you're in the air, you can't really rely on your team to protect you. You rely a lot on cover, especially as far as echo or any type of like as any type of like off angle or like flyer, I guess, so to speak. You need to be holding tower. Also, you play the ground a lot. You need to work on like learning how to infinitely fly, like constantly be flying. If you want, I can help you with that. But also, like main issue I saw with your play is that you play way too out in the open, and then you don't hold tower. And then also you want to be playing an off angle from your team. But if your team's pushing left here, then that's fine. Or you could like if your team's pushing left and you're holding tower, and so you're already playing like an off angle from them. Or like you're just like you see what I'm saying. I don't need to ever explain it. You did a nice shot in the Pharah. See, your Pharah and your Mercy are taking so much damage because by the time you guys get into the actual fight, there's one reason why also going left here is a lot better because it's a lot quicker to point. You don't have to go through here and then go through here. You just have a straight like line. It's a lot quicker. As well as your Pharah is now going to be the main focus, and you don't really want your focus. You don't really want the enemy's main focus to be your Pharah or your Mercy, because you want your tanks to be the main focus because they're going to be the bigger threat. They're not going to be the bigger threat, but they should be the focus because they have the HP, they have the resources to sustain that damage. Your Pharah doesn't have the resources to sustain that damage. So when your tanks go over here and don't play over here, don't play on the left side with your Pharah becomes a primary focus, and it's easier to take the Pharah down because she's alone, and as well as it's just Mercy and Pharah. It's easier to focus on them. It's like why Tracer is so good at cleaning up kills is because you have your tanks dive in first, become the center of attention, and you have your Tracer coming in and becoming a bigger threat. It's just like it's a sneaky threat. Pharah acts on the attention that your tanks take in. That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I don't know if that's how I want to say it, but you kind of get what I'm saying. If you guys had gone left, then the attention would have been on you and less on your Pharah, which puts less pressure on your Pharah, and you guys would have been able to take more space. But because now your Pharah has to try and deal with them holding all the space over here and trying to at least play tower and trying to get some damage or trying to do his job. So you see what kind of position you're putting your Pharah in by going over here. And then also like if your team's going over here, you don't want to be playing like super like out here. You only want to be playing like super out here if your team is pushing left. If your team's pushing right, you want to be holding tower more and playing more cover because you already know that this space is going to be taken up by the enemy team. Because they're going left. If you go left, you go bridge, you're fighting for the space and you're fighting for a control point. If you go right, you're fighting for control point. You're not really fighting for the space. But what you need to be doing is fighting for the space, so your Pharah has space to do her job. When in reality, you guys pushed right, and now your Pharah is put in a really bad position. And now your Pharah is going to be main focus when your tank should have been main focus here in this fight. Hopefully I explained that well. If I didn't, let me know. If your Pharah is struggling, your Mercy has to kind of like hide for a little bit. See, you guys aren't really in a good position to act on the damage. So right now, Lulu's carrying you guys. And then you guys finally get in the fight. You're holding point way too much. Like, don't be afraid. Like, this might seem like a lot, but I'm not really expecting you guys to do all of this or to learn all of this in one video. I'm just showing you what you could be doing and what you could be doing and what you could be learning and what you could be like working on. Like, I'm just giving you everything, and I'm letting you decide, okay, this is a goal I want to set for myself. Because what helped me in coaching, or when I had like personal coaching, was at the end of the video, he would kind of go over, here are 3 things you need to be working on. Here's 3 goals you want to be accomplishing within a month. You want to be working on this, you want to be working on that, you want to be working on that. So for me, like, I would set small goals. Like, he would give me a lot of information, and I'd be like, all right, what was the 3 biggest issues that I struggled with? What were the common issues? 1, I didn't play cover enough. 2, I constantly pressed spacebar. And 3, I needed to stop being so reckless. I don't think that was an issue. Sometimes I play way too safe. It's like I'm either hot or cold. But anyway, um, I'm not expecting you to learn all this in one video. So don't put all that pressure on yourself that you have to be 100% better the next day and not make all the same mistakes. I'm not expecting you that. Of course, you're gonna make the same mistakes again. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. But I'm just showing you what you could all be learning. So a big thing that's hard for, I'm not trying to make this sound rude, but a big thing that's hard for lower elo players to learn, which is it's not always about the objective. It's usually about the fight. So let's say you're trying to push cart, for example. So when you're like, let's say we're playing watch point, and this is the spaceship, and this is the cart right here, and this is the high ground. This is very poorly drawn, but I hope you guys can see. There we go. We got all the high grounds. There we go. Awesome. So like, let's say, how do you push cart? What would be the best way to push cart? Would you A, drop down, push on the hold on, let me change color. Let me change color so you guys see this. Would you A, just drop down, push on cart, push it through, and then try and win the fight like that? Or would you B, go on high ground, win the fight, and then push cart? It'd be B. Because it's not always about pushing. It's not the objective is not always first. It's about winning the fight and then doing the objective. Because sometimes there are times where you can do both at the same time, but then there's other times where it's like you can't really push the objective and win the fight at the same time. Sometimes you have to take control of the high ground first, win the fight, and then push cart. It's like there's some situations with like pros where they'll go in, they'll use ultimates and they haven't even touched cart, but they win the fight and then that's when they finally get on cart. That's the whole reason why. It's like it's not always about the objective. So what I'm saying here, right here, is you guys are way too concerned about the objective when you need to be pushing up and acting on the damage that your Pharah is giving you. You need to be more concerned about like cleaning up the fight than getting the objective. Because the objective just unlocked. And so you guys all focus on the objective when it just unlocked. It's kind of a bega. It's kind of a bega. It's kind of like you don't need to. You're gonna get like what 2 more percent, 2 more percent. I think maybe 2 more, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. You only need 1 person to sit on point. You don't need 4 people all to sit on point to cap it. You just need 1. Like yeah, it's faster, but you get like that's like 1 or 2% like off. Like it's not that big of a deal. But what I'm saying is you guys need to be like following up on the damage that your Pharah is doing. Like Lulu's carried you. He took out 2 people. And he's about to take out 3. And you guys just hooked Sig because Sig wasn't focused on you, he was focused on the Pharah. And like you guys just need to be acting on like the damage that Lulu's giving you. And like only 1 person, like if 1 person had the cap, it'd be Bap. Bap has the cap. Everyone else can just push up. Because Bap can like heal from afar. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I don't over explain. So very not bad. Lulu carried you guys. Surprisingly, even though he was getting focused. So this is what I mean. You're playing very aggro, you'd be holding tower. There's no reason why to be pushed up that far. You need to be holding tower. Also, sorry if I'm not gonna apologize, but I'm not afraid to call you out on shit, and I'm not afraid to be direct and just honest in a VOD review. So if that kind of hurts your feelings, I'm sorry, but you gotta. That's just. I mean, I'm trying to help you improve. I'm not gonna be afraid to call you out on a dumb decision. See that you just got punished for it. You just got punished for it. You need to be holding tower instead of holding air. You have no cover here. You're playing way too aggro. What are you doing over here? Cherry's vibing. He's just chilling. You need to be going for a hook, bud. Well, maybe not going for a hook. That's kind of risky. You want to be kind of you don't want to go for a hook if Farah's looking at you, but you want to be playing with your sig or like playing like an off angle, like not over here out of the fight, just fucking looking at them from afar. Just kind of chilling. You're kind of vibing, honestly. Kind of chilling over there. See, Lulu gets punished. Nice hook. See, now you guys are down to your main damage dealer. You guys win. Because once again, your DPS carry. Very nice. You guys cleaned up. Even though you're down 1, you still you reset a little bit. You collected yourself. You sustained through it, and you actually got some picks. Because the enemy team didn't push into you. If they pushed into you, we would have been fucked, but they didn't. All right, so they're going right. They're going white room. What are you guys gonna do?
I've got you in my sights.
As a bad visor. Okay, so let me tell you how to visor, buddy boy. Sorry, I haven't taken my medicine today, so I'm kind of like vibing. It is 10:30 a.m. Okay, so you want a visor? It's like. Yeah, it's just okay. So you want a visor when Farah's at her peak of her boost. You want a visor right when she's like. So you see Farah boost up visor. That's when you want to go for it because then she's at her peak and it's gonna be very hard for her to fall. But when you visored, she was like right here. It was very bad. Oh, you waited a little too late. Eh, you did fine. Okay. You actually did it well. You actually did correctly. You did the correct thing, which was good. Oh, you waited too late. Yeah. You gotta be quicker. You gotta be quicker than that. You gotta be quicker than that. Also, like, one, you want to be visored when she's pushed out to here. Like when she's pushed out to this area. You don't want to visor when she can easily fall down to cover. Because when she's like pushed out to here, trying to group up with her team, that's when you want to visor because there's nowhere where she can cover. You did the correct thing. We're visoring at the peak of her jump. But the issue was that she was far back enough that you, 1, didn't do enough damage to insta-kill her. And 2, she had cover that she could fall back to. So it was all about timing and the positioning of the Farah that kind of ruined your ult. Like you did it correctly, but the execution was kind of poor. Like you needed to wait until she was out here in the open. But otherwise, like everything else was fine with the execution of it. It's just you just needed to wait until she was out here. So when the team's pushing here, as Farah, my favorite thing to do is either play over here and like spam from like right here. Like I'm up here, of course, like up here in the sky. But you want to be spamming and down here, going for a boop, just playing these like roofs. Or you want to be playing like over here. Over here is safer. This is probably what you want to do is play your team side in case someone gets staggered. Or you're just playing your team side. It's more comfortable for you to play. And it's going to be more safer. But you guys are so late in rotation. Lulu's just vibing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, oh, I'm going to go duel the Pharah. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, Lulu, your focus needs to be on... Okay, so playing Farah is about constant spam on the main team. yes, you would be taking the duels, but it's not, you know, it's like a side quest. It's like what I was talking to Soy about last night. It's like, well, you know, you can make it your priority to kill Pharah, but you know, you only want to do it when you can guarantee the kill. Otherwise, you're just losing, your team's losing out on so much damage that you could be pumping into their team when you take time to go for a duel. Like, you only want to go for it when you can, like when you can guarantee the kill. It's like, for example, here, you need to be constantly shooting and spamming over here. Like, this is a big issue I saw. Is you're not spamming the team enough. You're just kind of out in nowheresville right now. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm being honest with you because you're not doing your job. Okay. Terry's fine. You just want to be pressuring that. They don't have bubble anymore, so you'd be looking for hooks. So you do. How do you die? Oh, okay. I was like, how does the Luma die? What the fuck? See, like, look. Your tanks are here left alone. Both DPS are trying to focus on the fucking Pharah when she's not even in the fight. And your tanks are gonna run over right now. That's a very risky flux. Like, you flux just to try and, like, sustain and kind of, like, live, but it was kind of risky. Oh, so when you're playing, like, Sig Hog, usually your main tank's gonna be in Hog, not Sig. Because you want your Sig player to be more consistent. Oh, you rocked straight into a bubble. You don't want to do that, buddy boy. Also, if you know that the Sig has ultimate and he's right next to you, you'd be saving your rock so you can go for a stun on him. That's a very, like, big thing that top, like, Sigma players do. Is that if they know the enemy Sigma has ultimate, they save their rock for it. So you get ulted. Lulu comes in from behind, which is a bad decision because, like, okay, let's watch. Let's watch. Let's watch. Let us watch. Oh, Lulu goes straight in. That's bad. You're playing way too aggro, buddy boy. If you wanted to get behind them, you needed to rotate behind out here and then go for the spam behind them because now you're creating a two-way fight. You're creating an off angle. Like, they either have to focus on you or focus on their hog and, like, soldier. So this is what you should have done instead of just going straight into them, like just going straight aggro into their face, which is a bad idea. You never want to do that as Pharah. And then you get low, and then they just punish you for it. And then no one's left to kill the Pharah. Also, Soy, it's your job to pressure the Pharah out as much as possible. And okay, so let's talk about roles here, right? Let's talk about jobs. Lulu's job here is for constant spam, constant damage, and constant, you know, just constant burst damage. Just constant spam into the enemy team, constantly breaking shield, constantly just pumping in damage, pumping damage. Soy's job is to do the same, but your main thing is you want to be pressuring the enemy Pharah as well as you want to be breaking shield. Those are your two main things. Breaking shield, constantly just shooting, and then looking at Pharah. If you focus too much on doing damage because Lulu is out of the fight and like there's two separate jobs. Lulu's job is to create an off angle, constantly spam from afar. Soy's job is to constantly spam from the team and also deal to Pharah and also play maybe playing an off angle. Because when you're playing like Sig Hog, you're not really playing together. You're playing a little bit split. You're playing in groups. Which is why the bat pick's kind of funky. It's kind of funky, not gonna lie. And the soldier pick's kind of like the best pick. But you know, it be like that. We work with what we get. We work with what we get. This is why you see a lot of Tracer run on this map, because it's very like open and you run a lot of dive here. It's kind of funky to not see dive here. That's what my team always runs. But anyway. Soy's job is going to be constantly pressuring the Pharah when he can. It's not top priority, but it is like number 2. Like, you want to be constantly looking at her, or at least putting some kind of pressure into her constantly to make her very hesitant to go out in the open or pressure you. So we gotta work on some things. That's okay. Okay. So this entire hold on, I gotta see how much time I have. Okay, so I have like 20 minutes. Okay. So this entire like next couple of fights, which I don't think you guys win, is because one, going white isn't always the best idea. And it isn't always like the strongest, but you know, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But the biggest issue, and I'm not trying to beat you up again, but it's Lulu. You're playing Pharah. Pharah, you don't play team Pharah. You don't play ground Pharah. You play sky Pharah. Pharah's a bird, dude. She fucking flies. She flies in the sky. You gotta be flying, man. Use those wings. Use those fucking jets. God, I need to take my medicine. I'm trying to be funny because I don't want you to seem like I'm beating you up all the time. But you weren't the only issue, but it was kind of an issue. Like we didn't have any damage. I was about to say we didn't have no damage. We didn't have any damage because you were not in a good position. Because what you want to be doing is you want if your team's gonna go white, then you want to be going over here and constantly spamming from behind, or you want to be spamming through window, or you want to at least be spamming over here. Because what your team is gonna do is they're gonna try and force a fight on point, and so it's gonna force them to come in here, and so then that's a perfect opportunity for you to go in from behind them and spam. It's all about timing, man. It's all about timing and like positioning. You gotta work on that. It takes a lot of time to get good at that. So don't beat yourself about it. But let's watch because we'll see exactly what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna force a fight on point. They're gonna rotate in, and you need to be rotating behind them. But instead, you just rotate with your team, which isn't the best idea. You need to be playing the sky. You guys need to not be peeking that far. You're just feeding her ult charge. I mean, she already has her ult, but you're just feeding in damage. See, since Lulu's not in the sky, this Pharah has open rain on the entire fucking map because there's no pressure. Because one, if Lulu's, which is a bad idea, Lulu should not be playing over here. It should be Lulu on the off angle. But if Lulu's not on the off angle, and you need to pressure that Pharah, but you can't pressure her well with your team, go on the off angle, man. Don't be afraid to go on the off angle and a soldier and pressure the Pharah. Because honestly, this Pharah needs to be dealt with. Either that, you guys, the two ways to deal with Pharah. One, focus her or focus her team. Win the ground war or win the sky war. There's no in between. You can't just focus on here and then expect to win. It's not gonna happen. You do shuf. It's like when someone's coming behind you and there's people in front of you and you're stuck in the middle. You have to either choose one or the other. You can't just play both fights. It's not gonna work out. You need to commit. So yeah, like don't like if Lulu's not playing the off angle, and I'm not saying like he might. I'm not saying he's not gonna do it. But I'm just saying like, let's say you're running like Hanzo here instead of a Pharah, then Soy, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to go over here on the off angle and pressure the Pharah when she's out in the open like this. And then visor. This would be a perfect time for you to go on off angle and visor her. But instead you visor her with your team, and then you're already in a position to where she's constantly spamming, and so it just makes her easier to deal with you. Because she's already spamming at you. And then, oh, unlucky. She's surrounding you. See, this as far as doing exactly what she should be doing. Except she's playing a little too aggro. Which she gets punished for. Hopefully. Oh, nope. She lives. She fucking lives. Okay. But see, look. Exactly what I said. You guys push white. You guys force a fight on point. All the space is free reign. Except for the Pharah. So this is perfect time for you, Lulu, to go around here and spam from behind, because now you're creating a two-way fight. You're creating like, here's one, here's you guys, here's Lulu, here's you guys, and the enemy. So now you guys you're putting damage in behind, and so your team does this fucking axe on it and goes in. But that doesn't happen because you one aren't going behind them.
Огонь по готовности.
And see, this is why playing Pharah here, when they're going white and you're playing like this roof right here or right above this choke, this is a perfect area for you to barrage. This is a perfect area for you to boot people. Because you just play this roof and just constantly spam. Or you can constantly go for a spam back here. That's kind of risky, but you know, it's not terrible. But as far as playing like not she's playing like fine. Like she's not playing terribly well, but she's making good decisions. Her positioning is fine. Yeah, she feeds. Good shit, Joy. Fuck her up. Fuck her up. Run. Use the legs. Okay. You get what I'm saying, though, right? Like it's. I think I've explained it well. I don't think I need to re-explain it. Lulu finally goes, and then Lulu's like, "Oh, nope, gotta go with my team." You guys don't touch, I don't think. You guys not have lamp? Maybe Lulu was out of lamp. But anyway, you guys lose this fight. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, real quick, it's not all Lulu's fault. Like, dude, it's not all your fault. It's not. You're not the. I'm just showing you because as a flex DPS player myself, I play at a 4.2 level, and I'm just trying to help you improve because these are some major issues with your Pharah play, and these are some major issues that I had to learn. That once I learned, it made my life so much easier. It made my life so much easier, and it made me feel more comfortable on Pharah and playing her when I learned like these major like rules of playing her. These kind of like guidelines of playing Pharah. But there was a lot of issues with you guys being hesitant, not going the correct way. Like, you know, if they're running Pharah, like honestly, just go bridge. Like if you're always afraid you're gonna get booped off, then like just fucking block the boop. Like just Sigma shield, block it. I just like moved my hand. Sigma shield and block it. Like there's multiple ways to deal with boop. So if you're just afraid of boop and that's the reason why you're not going bridge, you need to work on that. You need to stop being so afraid. Because honestly, if you're afraid of getting booped, just fucking run Lucio and then speed across. Like Lucio's not bad. He's not a bad play. He's not bad to play in this meta. But I think your composition is kind of suffocating you, and the fact that you have burst damage, and you have like a pea shooter. Soldier is really bad right now. And you have tanks that are really controlling but don't have a lot of damage output, except maybe Hog. And you have supports that suggest a double shield or like bunkering, but you guys aren't playing bunker. Like your composition is kind of suffocating you. And if you guys want, we can go over like lessons on how to correctly choose comp, because I feel like once you learn how to do that, it makes the playing the game a lot easier. But it's more so on the fact of if you guys are comfortable enough to be able to adapt and change up your composition. But it's so the main issues here that need to be like fixed. Let me get a good color. Let me get a good color. Good color. Sorry, I need to take my medicine. Okay, so 1, your comp kind of suffocating you here. 2, your composition sucks. It doesn't suck, but it struggles. Your decision making. Decision making is kind of scuffed. I'm just saying, like, with using ults and going, like, where you're going in, when you're going in, kind of like, if you should go over here and go for an off angle, or if not, like, the whole team's decision making is kind of struggling a bit, which is okay. Like, you guys are cool. It's not, you know, it's something we're working on. You're running tryouts. Like, I don't want to be rude and say you guys are cool, but like, it's normal for you to make a lot of mistakes as well if you're trying to improve. And plus, we're running trials, and like, you know, some people, I've seen people in GM make the same fucking mistakes you guys make. So don't worry, it's not a big deal. People make mistakes. It's just life. Comp, decision making, and then your positioning. I think your positioning is kind of struggling a bit. But other than that, I think I just want you guys to think it's not all Lulu's fault. I'm just pointing out a lot of his issues because they're major issues with his far play that just need to be fixed, that need to be talked about. I have a lot of issues with Dark later on with some of his Rhine play that I did mention to him during the scrim. I was like, you need to stop giving up space for free, man. You're passive. You're passive as fuck sometimes. So it was just I couldn't give it to Lulu at the time because it would have taken too much time for me to explain it, and it's not all Lulu's fault why you guys lost this. I'm just trying to make that clear as possible. I'm just calling out a lot of his issues because they're just major issues that I think just need to be addressed. I don't think you guys should be running the support lineup. I think you should drop the BAP and honestly run. I think altogether, like, you need to drop the soul. I think you guys just need to be playing dive. Are you guys comfortable with dive? I don't know. I haven't seen you guys play in a while. Because, like, you run far on Mercy, and that's just, ooh, dive. Let's go. Because dive's really good on following up the damage that Farah brings out. As Farah deals damage, you dive in, easy kill. Easy. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. No, it's not. But, yeah, your composition and then kind of your decision making and the positioning of where you guys played and in certain areas. Like, I focused a lot on the DPS, kind of, and then somewhat on the tanks. Supports, I think, were overall fine. But honestly, like with this composition, it's kind of hard to tell because supports are kind of they don't have as loud of an impact as like a tank play does. You know what I mean? Like tanks go when they set the tempo. Supports, they don't have as loud as an impact, so it's not as loud. You don't really see it as much. So I didn't see major issues from supports. I just saw major issues from some of our tank play, and then some. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that helped. If it didn't, let me know. if I didn't explain things well, let me know. All right. Let me get rid of that. Okay.
Ready for battle.
But hopefully it helps. Hopefully I explained things well, and so that it gave you guys a better perspective on how things should be run and stuff. If you guys want, I can send a VOD of like my team playing this or me playing Pharah on this map. I usually play Echo because Echo's usually better than Pharah because you can actually take out a Pharah's Echo. But anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know if there's any issues.